Hi folks, welcome to this week's video. In this video I am working on a little brown vase that I picked up in an op shop for $5. It was a very easy flip and I initially intended it just for a short, but then I kicked it over and broke it. So I thought, oh, what can I do with this? So this is how I got it to the initial stage. So it was just the dirt, that old true tested method of the dirt with a wax finish. I really do love how that wax makes it look like a leather finish on some surfaces. So this is what happened the next day. At first I was a little bit annoyed with myself, as one would be, but then I thought actually this is a perfect opportunity for me to try the Kintsugi, like putting it back together and filling it with gold, a form of gold. Yeah, so that's essentially what I've done. So I mapped out all the pieces and I knew I was missing a bit, but I actually thought that it would add to it because I read somewhere about the flow of energy through it. So I thought a little hole would let the energy breathe and flow through it. I mean, who knows if it was right? I just like the idea of it. With the E6000 glue, I just put a little bit on all of the edges and essentially placed it back together, and I didn't worry too much if it was not exactly flush. I thought that would add to it when I added the gold leaf. At the stage I wasn't sure whether I was going to use the rub and buff or the pen. I did have the gold leaf itself out to try that as well, but I decided against it. I left it a couple of days to fully cure, and this is what it looked like when it had dried. I was a little bit worried about removing the excess glue from the surface and rubbing off the surface that I had already put on there in my recent efforts, but it wasn't too bad. I gave it a light sand and removed all the excess glue. I did actually have to go in after I'd done that and give it another layer of the dirt. This is the second layer of the gold pen that I'm putting on now. There is a little bit already filled into the cracks that I have wiped most of it off. I don't think I could cope with the big fat gold leaf pen lines, so I actually did go in and remove most of them and just left a little bit of a fine line or a trace of it. That wasn't what I saw in most of the pictures, but it's how I liked it, and I guess that's what matters at the end of the day. It was the whole idea of the Kintsugi, the idea of something being broken and being put back together to stay optimistic and to celebrate the flaws, which I guess is what the gold represents. So for me it's the whole vessel, not just the lines. The fact that I've put the whole vessel back together and it can be used, it still has a purpose. It may not have been the original purpose, but it still has a purpose. Now on to oiling it again, so it's got that protective layer to finish it off. I did use a mix of oils here, not oil, I mean wax. So this is the Max wax. And I'm also rubbing a little bit of the antique wax into it, which is a Karen Walker wax that I've added the stain to, a dark stain. So yeah, I'm happy with how it's turned out. I think it looks really quite cool, and I'd be happy to have it on my shelf. So thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you've actually tried doing this to something that you've broken. Cheers.